How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Forever Arsenal podcast. Hope you're all good and well out there. Make sure you hit the like button. Let's get it up to 1,000. And as you can see, I just wanted to highlight someone's hypocritical attitude. If you've seen in recent weeks, I've been accused. My name's been dragged through the mud. I've been docked points in the prediction league table. Not that it
rightly so. It must be rightfully so. It must be said.
Well, rightfully so. The jury hasn't got back to us yet, but we'll see. What the final answer is on that one. But I think the jury's got some more work to do because, as you can see, we're missing a certain someone. We're missing one of my main aggressors in the
you know what? The pressure's got to him. Just as I'm, breathing down his neck, I'm closing in on him. I went 3-0 in the prediction league, by the way. I bet you celebrating that mad wacky goal. Now he's a no-show. He's worried he's going to fall. He's going to fall bottom of the table, and I hear it.
At least Turkey has turned up to court. Do you know what I mean? Lee hasn't even turned up. Guilty. I don't know what to say.
Were we in agreement here for a punishment, or?
Well, the rules say he's got 2 more minutes to make an appearance. So,
the rules say
1 minute now. It's go on.
I think he's docked points anyway, but he's 1 minute away from entering the second threshold, which is
is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah. Wow. But I can't remember what the rules are. Is it 1 point in the first 20 and then 2 in the 20 after? Is it something like that?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Nah, it wasn't. It was 1 point per 20 minutes. Come on, guys.
Yeah, that's it. So 1 point for the first 20 minutes. You're late.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant 2 points for the second 20 minutes.
Oh, well, are you one of the defendants as well, Jordan? Yeah.
No, I'm just being fair. I'm just listen. I'm that person in the court that's member of the public, just being nosy. I'm on my lunch break. I'm just keeping an eye on what's going on. I got no influence, no preference. Just minding my business. Just say.
I'm starting to think you don't want me to get third place.
The reality is, James, I don't care. Either way, third, fourth.
This would be a great story. This is like Brighton chasing Europe. I'm playing the best football in the pod. And everyone loves an underdog story, and I could nick third place.
You have been getting some love in the comments, James. You have been getting some love in the comments, to be fair. So yeah, maybe your football in this analogy is the best on the pods currently.
Wow.
So it's a fair point.
Thanks so much. And he's just hit the 20-minute threshold. This is great.
No way.
So where does that put me? Does that put me level on points?
I think it does. I think it does.
Oh, so shameless. I'll take it all. Take it all.
Oh, dear.
Don't even bother docking him the points. Just give the 2 to me.
At the buzzer, we've got a late entry here.
Have we got a late entry?
A late entry here.
Always right.
I had been in there for a couple of seconds, like that, man.
A couple of seconds ain't gonna help you, mate.
Listen, guys, I am so sorry. Like I played football yesterday, and I've done my groining, and I was icing it up and all that, and I just fucking totally forgot to put my alarm on. Just totally forgot, like, you know what I mean?
It happens.
You did you remember when he called me just 2 minutes ago? He said, "I've slept through my alarm." Now he forgot to put his alarm.
No, I just hold on, just testing out this. I actually thought I put my alarm on, but I hadn't.
Well, they do say that's a side effect of groin injuries.
Loss of memory.
He pulled out the groin injury card.
Oh, it's off.
He didn't take that one too well, did he?
He's a mess. He's a mess.
About 10 minutes to type it in again.
What's he doing? He's typing the link. That's what, what? He was actually up the whole time. He just doesn't want to admit that he still hasn't learned how to copy and paste.
Takes him 2 hours. Takes him a couple of hours.
Who's going to tell him the good news?
Yeah, I've got work to do.
Who's going to tell him the good news?
What about the points dropped?
Yeah.
I'll go.
Yeah, me.
I'll go.
Do it.
I'll go. You go. You go.
The guy slags off tactical insight. Watch this tactical insight coming right now.
In the background, I'm actually going to get the table ready so I can edit it once he agrees to the point.
So you actually took the docked points. You went in.
Yeah, I took 2 points off myself.
Well done. You're a noble man.
Yeah, I'll check that later on, but we'll make sure that
You're a
you want.
noble. You're a noble, lazy. Okay, Turkish. Well done. I'm proud of you.
He's back again. He's typed in the link.
Well done. Welcome back.
What on,
I
mate?
pressed the wrong button. I can't fucking.
He's a mess. He's a mess.
Wake up, Lee.
what? I pressed the button to come back in and it all went up. What the fuck?
Lee's in pieces.
Oh, I'm back. Oh, back. We'll keep this between ourselves anyway, like, yeah.
We've got some news for you, Lee, that I think James would like to relay.
You're getting docked 2 points, mate. You're level on points with me. Well done.
I'll have a fucking fight. I'll have everything going on with this, like, yeah. I actually said to Turkish.
You're in a relegation scrap.
I actually said to Turkish, I ain't bothering turning up no more. So it was like I fucking lost with him winning on fucking, and I you know. So I don't give a fuck. You can fucking take the whole lot of fucking things. I don't give a fuck. If you come fucking second, third, or fourth, it don't matter. You got to fucking win. That's it, like, you know what I mean?
Well, look, it's more about not finishing bottom. You're in a relegation scrap. Welcome to the small time.
I can't hear you. I've gone deaf. Can we get on with the fucking show? We're running late. Come on, let's get on with it. Like, huh?
Mate, we've started the show. We're live.
We're in.
We're live already.
Boy, we better not be like that, man. Because at the end of the day,
We are, mate. Look in the top left-hand corner.
Oh, you bastards. You absolute. No. I'll tell you that now, right? I deserve points put on there. That's twice you've done that to me now, like, you know what I mean? I'm not happy, like, you know what I mean? I'm not happy with that. I want to just keep between ourselves, like, and you've gone live, Turkish. I tell you, like, I'm not blaming James, and I'm not blaming John. I'm blaming you. You know what I mean?
I wish you was here to hear the convo leading up to us going live.
Oh, jeez.
You might share a bit.
I'll watch it back later on. I like, you know. But you are the serial offender, and we've kept it, you know, under the carpet on many occasions. One time I've done, and you've done this to me, like, you know what I mean?
Savage, absolute savage.
That is it. It is savage, like, you know. I hope everybody don't know about my groin strain. That's all I'm saying.
Listen, the whole Fourever Arsenal community knows about your groin strain.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm late, guys. I've got a real arse injury. Yeah, no worries.
Forgot to set my alarm.
Dear. I'm all iced up.
Should we talk Arsenal?
You win?
Yeah.
Now we've got stuff yesterday as well. Like what I've done, be honest, I played Wednesday night for our side, you know, and we was playing 6-a-side yesterday. It's a little bit short, and I didn't want to let anybody down. But you know, when you know your body's not gonna handle it 2 games, like, you know, especially after playing a weekend as well. And yeah, my body just give up, like, you know. Went round 6 players, and as I shot, you know, like my groin went, like, you know, as it hit the back of the net. If you believe that, you believe about my laugh.
Yeah.
Can we just get on with the show, lads, please? Like, you know what I mean?
It's not only
let's do it.
I've got physio later on.
Groin gate.
It's not only our
very
wild dreams. It sounds like Lee's also got some very, very wild dreams as well. He beat 6 man and buried it, and then forgot to set his alarm. What a story! So listen, I'm just here. I'm the host. I'm impartial. I'm unbiased. I just want to know: are we letting Lee off with this? Or
yes?
I don't care. I'm
2
clear at the
points
top.
off.
It doesn't really matter to me.
2 points off. Give the fans what they want. You give the fans what they want. It's a proper race for the bottom between me and Lee. Scrap the 2 points.
No, because you've
not-
never let us down, have you, James? You never let us down once, have you?
Never.
I'm not.
Never, not one.
You know, look, listen, I don't get it. You want to take points up me, you take the points up me. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I feel, right? Okay. I've got the wooden spoons round here, like, and I won't sign them. There you go, like, you know what I mean?
Oh shit! What are we gonna do now, Jordan?
And I'm pretty sure the first time I watched him up there, the serial offender done it, he got let off. I'm just saying, like, you know.
You did say this is the second time we've started the show without you, so this must mean this is the second time that you've been late, not first, like you claim.
What I what?
We were watching him on Lead Judges TV while we were live recording.
Remember?
Yeah, that was it. That was right, James. Thank you. I was.
Thank you.
Other commitments that day, like, you know what I mean?
So we were sleeping in another show.
My phone rang, like, the first time it rang, I got to tell you, so the first time it ringing me this time of the morning, cheeky sons. I turned over and went to get back to sleep. It rang again, and I see Turkish, and like, I went, oh my God. I didn't actually say that. I went, oh my God. I was up and done my other groin. Jesus Christ.
He's out for 6 weeks.
As he's an infrequent offender, I would settle on the 1 point dropped rather than the 2.
One's fair. I think one's a compromise.
I'm showing
One's
mercy to you, Lee. I want to catch that 3rd place without all this.
Now, if you want to listen, if you want to catch it like that, you know, then you catch it like that, you know.
Are you telling me now if those 100 breaches don't come in for Man City, you're not taking the league title? We're taking
No. It's got to be 101 breaches. You know what I mean?
I'm taking 3rd place by hook or by crook. I don't care.
No,
I'll take tenner at the end of the season.
I'll take the point deduction because at the end of the day, I ain't winning the shirt anyway. Like, you know, so there you go.
Oh, what a good
It's
sport.
true. It's a 2-horse race anyway, so you're right. It's
2-horse
that's
race.
very
2-horse
magnanimous of
race.
you.
What are you, Tottenham Hotspur up there, are you? Because you're now coming 3rd.
I'm the Arsenal in this race here. I've got an outside chance, Lee. I've got an outside chance. Not
Listen. You're never the Arsenal. You had 1 week at the top, 1 week, and that was the international break. Like, you know what I mean? As soon as we got back into the real business again, you're back down. You know, like, and
if anything,
prior to the last of it,
prior to this season, that is very Arsenal. If anything, so in some ways, you know, I'm staying true to form. It's very Arsenal to be top 1 week of the season and then just fall off again. That's what I'm doing. So I am the Arsenal.
You was unbearable.
Should we talk about that team, by the way?
Yeah, we should. We're actually coming off the back of a win for the first time in a few weeks, and the prediction table has been updated. So when it's time to get into the prediction table, we will see how that has an
funny
effect.
how you mention that now, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? You haven't mentioned, you know, like, you didn't mention the prediction table when you weren't winning games. Now, like, you know, I'll tell you what, I'm going to say, like, I had the when that goal winning because I knew what was coming. I knew that James had 3-0. I was actually bottom of the league at one stage there, like that 3.
Was you? Wow.
But when they got 3-1, I was even more annoyed. Not because of Turkish winning, like, you know what I mean? That was 50% of it, but conceding a goal, I was fuming.
Yeah, should have taken the clean sheet. Which I asked at halftime to the panel on the watch along, would you take more goals or would you take a clean sheet? Mixed reception, but we didn't get more goals and we didn't get a clean sheet. But let's start at the start of the game because we've got a first half to discuss as well. We did go 3-0 up and it did look pretty comfy. I don't think we really stepped out a second, third gear, if you ask me. I know a lot of people have said it was an amazing display. I wouldn't call it amazing. I wouldn't use the word fantastic. I'll say in the first half, we buried our chances. We dominated the game and Chelsea didn't really have a sniff in the second half. Probably should have scored one early, and Chelsea and if they had more quality, they probably could have caused us more problems. But Lee, let's go to you first. Obviously, you was at the game. How was it? I mean, off the back of 3 draws and one loss to City, second in the league. Different type of atmosphere, or same as usual?
No, it was. Do you know what? Me and James were talking about it on the Star 11. Like, you know, it was, you know, funny feeling going into the game, and I felt that even with the crowd. And I actually said something what we needed was the players to lift the fans. For the first time, it really needed the players to lift the fans. And to be honest, they did. You know, I looked at the Chelsea team before the game and I thought, oh, you know, they look really good. They got some good players on paper and all that. And I was a little bit worried that, you know, well, my heart was sort of saying, like, you know, yeah, we'll win this game. But my head was saying 2-2 or something like that. Needed the players to really perform. And, you know, I'll be really honest, I'm not really looking forward to going to Newcastle because I think, you know, same things are going to happen as last year and what's been going on the last few weeks. But the players really, in that first half, and I'll give them credit for that, raised the bar and got the fans on side. And it was really exciting in the stadium because, you know, it don't happen very often, guys. But, you know, Chelsea are on the hook there, 3-0. And I'm thinking like this could be 5, 6, 7 at that stage. That's how it was. Half time come too soon for us. I think in the second half, a little bit of pride from Chelsea pushed them up a little bit, and a little bit of like, oh, we're 3-0 up. We just went off the gas a little bit, and then they scored. And what is the worrying thing for me? And, you know, like, I don't want to criticise because we lost everything there, but if they'd have got another one, there'd have been panic stations.
Yeah.
There would have been panic stations. So much so that Gabriel's injured and he's hobbling around for 10 minutes before they actually took him off, you know what I mean? Which was a ridiculous thing. If he misses the game on Sunday, that just shows you how desperate our defending can be at times. But I think it'd be all right. I think it was just a knock. But, you know, really, Mikel there, like, you know, should be just going, get off. And I think 3 times he asked him if he's all right, and he said, yeah. And then in the end, he'd come off. So it is a bit of a worry. But at the end of it, if you'd have said to me at the beginning, look, Arsenal going to win this game 3-1, you'd have took it. You'd have took it. But the one thing that I'm going to say really just disappoints me a little bit about the game is that I've come out of Stamford Bridge. I've come out of Anfield, Old Trafford, when we've been really, you know, in the depths of disappointment and have been a poor team, and we've been savaged, ripped apart, you know, and we didn't do that to them. And I felt there was an opportunity to really, you know, like, not say get revenge for the time they beat us 6-0, but we was a poor side back then, you know what I mean? And we was, by these teams, when we was poor, we was given a good seeing to, like, you know, 8-2 against Man United, 5-1 against Liverpool, 6-0, as I said, against Chelsea. I want to see is when we're at our peak, and we are at our peak at this moment in time. Let's be we're the second best team in the league. We're better than everybody else. So, you know, Manchester City are on a different level to everybody else, but the rest of the pack, we're the best of the rest. And when you have that opportunity to really rub it in and mutilate a team, we've got to start doing that a little bit more. But other than that, it's 3 points.
Yeah, I saw this being talked about a lot. I saw a lot of complaints about the second half performance. And I don't know how much of it was, you know, actually what people saw in the second half they were really disappointed with over how they felt, you know, in the way we threw it away against Liverpool and West Ham, and maybe felt that there were kind of shades of that kind of complacency because obviously we conceded a goal, and then any moment of magic from Chelsea and it's 3-2, and you're right, there'll be panic stations. The reality is that moment of magic never came, and actually Chelsea weren't good for 2 goals in that game, let alone the one. I mean, it was a nice pass from Kovacic and a decent finish, but awful defending from Zinchenko. Actually, they didn't do anything. And I thought Arsenal, to be fair, it wasn't really till maybe 65 minutes that they took their foot off the gas, as opposed to West Ham, where it felt like after 20 minutes, they started to slow down and take their time. And, you know, Liverpool, there's just nothing they could do about how relentless Liverpool were in the second half, and the counter-attack wasn't good enough, blah, blah. I just thought Arsenal, to be fair to them, I agree with you, Lee. I want us to start destroying these teams. What Newcastle did to Tottenham not long ago. What I was about to say, what Liverpool did to Tottenham, but actually then Tottenham pulled it back. But yeah, I do want to. What Liverpool did to Man United. I want us to start getting that 4th and that 5th and make it relentless and really humiliating these teams. Not just because it's fun for us, but because I actually think it's important for the team. I think the players get something out of that sort of mentality of being relentless and really putting these teams to the sword. I think actually for about 20 minutes the second half, I think they did try. Gabriel's header cleared off the line. Xhaka's effort, good save. Saka nearly from distance. Jesus at the back post. That's kind of 4 pretty decent chances to get a 4th and a 5th. But then once they didn't come, and you got Newcastle on the weekend, I think it was probably quite smart of Arsenal just to kill the game a little bit, in the way a Man City would, and secure the 3 points. So I think Arsenal were very comfortable all day, to be honest.
Yeah, we look comfortable. Hence why I said we didn't step out a second, third gear. I mean, Chelsea are just a terrible club right now. I mean,
where do they rank, Turkish? Where do they rank for you in terms of performances at the Emirates from travelling teams this season? Because I think only Forest were worse.
Yeah, Forest were bad. Chelsea
genuinely.
Yeah.
You know, I think Leeds, when we beat them 4-1 not long ago, didn't really do much. Palace actually hit a few. They had a few efforts at, you know, I don't know. I thought Chelsea were awful, genuinely so bad.
They were. I mean, I'm trying to think of what Leeds one's a shout. I mean, Fulham was quite easy. Come the time, we thought it'd be a lot harder, but Chelsea just had nothing about them, and I feel like it was the perfect game to have following that, you know, 4-game period of not taking a win. I think the first half we coasted through and came out of it 3-0. I'm with you guys. I mean, I want to see a ruthless edge where, you know, we finish off a team in the second half. And yes, we've had a couple big scorelines this season, Nottingham Forest being one of them, and obviously a few 4-1s here and there as well. But these teams, like Lee said, over the years, when Arsenal were in the mud and Arsenal weren't playing great and Arsenal were in their decline, they was putting us to the sword. You know, every season would have a big result go against us in a horrible way. So I'm going to give them benefit of that. They are a young team, and I guess that ruthless edge comes with more confidence against these teams. And I think this season, if there's one thing they can take out of it, is confidence going into next season that they can beat near enough anyone. Aside from Manchester City this season, we've done well with the majority. We haven't beat Southampton this season either, but obviously that's just an anomaly, I'd call it. And Newcastle coming out this Sunday is another team we failed to take the win against. But I think the team will grow in confidence next season and hopefully put teams to the sword a bit more consistently. Jordan, what did you make of it?
I'm disappointed. I'm gonna try my best to not just totally repeat what Lee and James said, because I agree with both of them. First of all, I was disappointed, man, because I felt the same at the end of the game as Lee's articulated. A lot of the fans were coming out, yeah, 3-1, beat Chelsea, yeah, back on track. I wasn't happy because for the exact reason that Lee says. In the last 10 years, we have taken some absolute slappings from Chelsea, Liverpool, and Manchester City, and we've not been a great team. And this goes back a few years now, 2 or 3 years, and I think of Man United in particular, under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and less so Jose, but definitely Van Gaal. We had opportunities at the Emirates in particular to really batter United on 3 or 4 occasions across the Ole and Louis Van Gaal tenure, and we didn't. And it really, really angered me because when they were at their lowest, we let them off the hook. And when was it? Tuesday was the same for me. Chelsea are a bad team, as James has said. They're not good. And for me, your question at the top, I think, was perfect. You know, if you can't get 4, 5, 6, which I think we should have, don't let them score. Yeah. Take 3-0. Take 3-0. Because I just think it doesn't mean anything different. It's still 3 points, still a convincing win in that sense. But I just think it looks more reflective of the actual game. It wasn't a 3-1 game. We let it be a 3-1 game because, as James has said, we took our foot off the pedal. And I'm like, no, this is Chelsea. 4, 5, 6. Send them home crying. Why are we letting Chelsea even score a goal? And I think it speaks to a deeper problem about us we discussed about being ruthless in the transfer market, ins and outs on the last pod. I think there's a discussion to be had about being ruthless on the pitch. We're not nasty enough. We play really good football. I think there's still an element of us that is still quite nice. And this might be just part of our evolution to becoming a Premier League winning team. I don't know, maybe. But I just watched that game and thought, Nah, I'm not happy with 3-1. And my mind goes to next season. The title's gone for me now. I know that if City lose at Big Sam's, Leeds United, whatever, I don't think it will happen. So the title's gone for me. So my mind is in next season. And it's about now raising standards and working out where can we get 2% more here, 2% more there. And part of that process of trying to match the City, because they're the standard bearers, is when your foot is on the throat, you have to kill the team. We didn't kill Chelsea. We beat them. I wanted to kill them. And I think if you look at the last few games against Southampton, against West Ham, against Liverpool, there's an element of just not being ruthless. We won the game, but we wasn't ruthless. And I think that for me was very disappointing. It's Chelsea, man. There's not, and the scary thing for me is, as bad as Chelsea are, if they trim the squad by 8 or 9 players, you get Poch in, that team could be top 4 next season. It could. It wouldn't be I wouldn't be stunned if Chelsea next season are in the top 4. And then we're battling with them for a top 4 spot. And it's just upsetting to me that when we're at our best, we're letting teams off the hook. But when we were at our worst, Chelsea showed no mercy to us. Yeah. Liverpool showed no mercy to us. They were happy to slap in 4 or 5 goals in the first half in certain games. So why are we being nice to them? So on the grander scheme of things, the first priority was to win the game. We won the game, fine. But I think there's a bigger conversation to be had about this being a team that is ruthless and nasty. And if we can't get 4, 5, 6, you don't concede. You don't give Chelsea a goal, especially that kind of goal. It was a poor goal, man. It was a crap goal to give away. So yeah, won the game, but I'm not happy. And going into the Newcastle game, imagine what 4, 5, 6-0 win would have done for our confidence. Newcastle would be shaking in their boots, but I think for us, we're like, okay, we've racked up some goals there. Let's go and see what we can do against Newcastle. But I see elements and parts of our game that I just need tightening up that for me make me fearful about whether we win this Newcastle game or not.
It's a bit of a... No, go on, Nick.
No, I was just saying it's a great point listening to you guys and what Jordan's saying there. And you are looking at next season. You know, what's a big worry for me is that, you know, Zinchenko, I think he's a fantastic player. I really like him and all that. He's under pressure from Tierney, or he should be. Right? And he defends like that for that goal. It looks like to me like, well, I'm all right. I'll be playing next week sort of attitude. You know what I mean? Like, you know, where's his desire? Where's his hunger to keep a clean sheet? Where's his desire to defend? Now, you might not think that's irrelevant in a game like that, but it's irrelevant when you're 2-1 down at Anfield with 5 minutes to go and you let something go through your legs and you end up conceding.
It's about standards. It's standards.
It's standard defending. And when you've got pressure, you know, if I was playing that game, I'd be now worried that Tierney's going to be taking my place. You know, if Tierney makes that mistake, he's probably going to be left out. Look, I'm not having a go at Zinchenko. I'm just saying, you know, you've got to be on your game all the time, whether you're 3-0 up or it's 2-1 at Anfield with 3 minutes to go. Set your standards, set out your stall, and do it week in, week out. Not when you want to and when you're not. And his reaction for the goal, I didn't know it until I see it on, you know, the highlights, because you know you watch the highlights. He just doesn't care.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying he doesn't, but his body language and everything shows that, oh, it's all right. I see that a few years ago with Arsenal, when we weren't winning games and everything like that. I remember going to Sheffield United and we lost 1-0 up there in the league game from a corner. And when the ball went in the back of the net, everybody just looked at each other and went, oh, well. You know, and I don't want to see that creeping in. I want to see, you know, people having a go at each other when you can see goals. I'll go back to it, you know what I mean, in the Adams and Keown era. They were winning game 4-0 and they conceded in the last minute. And they're roaring with each other in the dressing room. That's what you want. Because it sets a standard, like, you know what I mean? Because it's not that game. It's the games that matter, you know, where you're going to have to dig in against Newcastle now. And you might be 1-0 up with 10 minutes to go. And you cannot be switching off.
Yeah, Zinchenko's fun, isn't he? Because I've always felt the gap in how good a defender Zinchenko is to Tierney isn't as big as everyone says. Don't get me wrong. I think if you ask me to defend a 1-0 lead and pick a player, I'm picking Tierney. But I never felt like there was this. Everyone would say, Zinchenko is brilliant on the ball, but he's rubbish defensively. Tierney's reliable at the back, but he doesn't offer you as Zinchenko. Tierney offers lots going forward. And Zinchenko's actually got a very good leap on him. He wins his headers when the switch comes across. And he's actually quite good in the one-on-one defending. I know he didn't show against Trent, but largely he's kind of okay at that. I just think there's a certain, I don't know, I guess a pride for defending or a certain concentration or something. I don't know. Listen, I've lost this bet with Robbie about how many appearances Zinchenko's going to make in midfield this year. There's absolutely no chance that turns around for me. But I do think if Zinchenko plays his next 4 seasons at Arsenal, I do think we're going to see a significant amount of them coming in midfield. Maybe not quite next season, but in future years, because I don't know if he is, especially in this era of, we're starting to see this season a trend of centre-backs moving to full-back. We've seen Arteta do it with Tomiyasu and Ben White. We've seen Dan Burn at Newcastle. We've seen Ake, Laporte, Stones has been moved out to right and left back. There's so many examples of it now. I just wonder whether actually when it comes to getting your best defenders on the pitch, I think Zinchenko might start to lose out and be utilised elsewhere, which I don't have a problem with.
I don't think he's good enough. I have doubts whether he's good for midfield. I mean, it's becoming quite a regular theme that he gives the ball away quite nonchalantly at times in games where you just look at the pass and you think, what are you actually doing there? And I haven't seen enough from him to say if he starts in midfield, he'll bring this. The reason he works in midfield now is because he's the extra man. If he's not the extra man, I'm not sure he's got the skill set to get out of tight spaces and spin away from a couple man or give from the 8.
I think he'd be. Look, I don't think he can do the box to box thing Xhaka's been doing, only because I think part of what makes Xhaka so good at it is the fact that he's 6 foot whatever, and he makes those runs to the back post, and he's a bit of a power. I didn't know he had this in him, but Xhaka's been a bit more of a powerhouse as a box to box midfielder. I'm not sure Zinchenko quite does that, but in terms of another advanced 8 who can be creative and get in pockets and make things happen, I actually think Zinchenko can do that. But yeah, so you're saying you don't think he's good enough long term for Arsenal for what we want to do?
He's no Edison.
Midfield position. I don't see a long term future for him being moved into midfield. I don't think he's got the skill set to succeed if he's not the man that's bringing the overload.
I'm with Turkish on this one.
But I don't know. I mean, I still think technically he's absolutely superb. But
I'm with James. Do you know what I think it is with him? I just think his priority is attacking or getting on the ball more than defending. Whether that's a right or wrong thing, I think James makes some very, very good points. He isn't a bad defender. I just think he loses concentration a little bit because his priority is to get on the ball and play. We're all probably guilty of that at times, you know what I mean? Like, I always look at, if you ever look at a lot of score lines through the years, 7, you get the odd 7-0, but there was always like 4-1s, 5-1s. Why is that? You know what I mean? Like 3-1s and all that, because probably players lose concentration even at the top level. So it does happen. And I just think that where his priorities, is that he's looking to get on the ball and everything like that. I think at the beginning of the season, no one, if you'd have said to me, if we'd had this conversation 6 months ago, we'd have all gone, we can play wherever he wants because he's that good. I just think because he's just slightly lost a little bit of form like at this moment in time, we're doubting him. And I'm not doubting him as a player. Come Sunday, I want him in the team. But I have noticed in the last couple of games that if we are winning, he brings Tierney on now. So which isn't a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like he's using the squad and everything.
Do we think? I mean, this kind of inverted fullback. I've been thinking a lot about it the last kind of couple of weeks, and wondering if it brings us more positives than negatives. I see the positives that it brings. I think we've won games this season because of that tactic. But maybe I'm just an old fart, but I wouldn't mind just seeing a left back be a left back next season, and that might not be Tierney, but I'm not totally convinced that we have a good enough defense to implement that form of offense. And I think that I get why Arteta's doing it, and I would love him to kind of come up with some kind of one of his own tactics. It's a Pep tactic, isn't it? We're seeing now bloody Liverpool do it to a degree with Trent, and I'm a little bit bored of this whole let's just copy what Pep does. It works for Pep. Pep's got the players to do it, and we've seen that it can work. But next season, I'm not so sure. If Zinchenko's main strength is that he's a left back that is very good coming inside, I wonder if that's a tactic for certain games rather than it being the default tactic that we start with and then change it afterwards. I wouldn't mind seeing a left back. I'm leaning towards just wanting to see a left back next season.
Sorry to jump in. I think there's kind of two things in there. That one is, will we get more of a solid back four next year? I think we might, especially with the amount of games, and yeah, I think there's a good chance we start to see a little bit more of a solid back four lineup. Football tactics. I mean, okay, I've been watching football since 2006-07, and I don't know if football tactics have ever been so interesting to talk about, because it feels like there's so many different systems and approaches that managers are taking now. And I do think it's really interesting. I will give Arteta credit, though. I actually think the way Zinchenko has been used this year is his thing. I actually think I know Guardiola's been inverting his fullbacks for a long time, but he used to invert both of them at the same time. But it just meant they tucked in more. They come into midfield and they tucked in a little bit. What Zinchenko's had is literally a free roll. It's off the ball, yeah, you're at left back. On the ball, yeah, come out inside next to Partey, but go left of him, go right of him, run beyond him, underlap, overlap, do whatever you want, whatever you see fit. And actually, I don't think anyone was deploying their fullbacks like that. And now Klopp's done it with Trent, and Guardiola's doing it, but more so with Stones coming into midfield from centre-back. So I actually think it is Arteta's thing. I actually think a lot of people have copied the Arteta blueprint this year on that one. He's just kind of taken what Pep did and just did it in a slightly different way. But I think we will see something different next year. I think he's constantly changing. I don't think Ødegaard, where he's playing at the moment, I don't think that's going to be long term. Out on the right always with Saka. I think we'll see him start playing more on the left at times, and mixing it up, and maybe go back to being an out and out number 10, not just one of the midfield three. So I think this Arsenal team is going to evolve a lot over the summer.
Do you think that link to Fresneda is looking at the option to change it up and have the inverted fullback from the right hand side instead?
Could do. Yeah. Listen, I think it's a fascinating conversation, but let's not forget, with this system and all that, it's took us nearly to the promised land. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see when we played Spurs anybody saying, "Oh, I don't know if Zinchenko can do this or do that," and whatever, criticising when we beat Man United, Liverpool, and all that. We've beaten all these teams by doing what we've been doing. What I do feel is that there's a happy balance, and what it is that we play these teams. We've been fantastic at home this season, all that, but we have conceded lots of goals along the way, and I think that maybe is what Jordan is alluding to, that we've got to sort out. Now, when you play Champions League, for instance, can you dominate a little bit more, or you're going to get caught on the counter attack a little bit more? Champions League is going to change for us guys going into it next season, because for the first time we're going to be playing with no away goal rule, and I think that could change things a little bit. I think that if it was away goal rule, I don't think we could be as open as what we are going into Europe. But for me, I think that I like what James is saying there. I do think, if you look at the tactics of football now, like, I go back to it when I played and all that, particularly when you was at school or whatever, if the best player would play in midfielder up front, the worst player would be a fullback. Left back in the change rooms was the same, wasn't it? Like, nowadays, if you're a fullback, it's one of the best positions to be playing in it. Like
one of the most important positions.
One of the most important things, and that's how the game's changed, where you get a little bit more space. you can run on to play and being part of it and all that. And I'm pretty sure if you ask Ben White, he's probably really enjoyed playing right back this season to central defence. It's more pivotal. So it's a very, very interesting thing. And I think that do teams suss out teams? I think that they do. And I think, even if you look at Pep, he's changed a lot of his stuff this season. Why don't he have inverted fullbacks no more? Maybe that's because he's got Haaland up front now. So he needs to get more crosses in and things like that. We haven't got that. So we've gone down this route. So it's fascinating, all the different lineups and tactical stuff that's about and everything like that. So I don't think we've got to evolve too much, if I'll be honest.
We just need the flexibility to be able to turn to a plan B. That's what I think we need.
Yeah, maybe that. Yeah,
I think it's a slight kind of going away from the Chelsea game here, but I actually think we do need. There is a bit of work to be done with our team. Our back four. There's something about our back four I just don't like. I think we've got 4 good players in our back four, and I think our back four has been really good this season. When we discussed last week about the players that we would bring in and the players that we would sell, I don't think I mentioned the player. I meant to, and I just afterwards I forgot to mention him, who I would also upgrade on, is Gabriel. Now, that's not me saying that I think Gabriel's not a good player. It's not me saying I don't think Gabriel hasn't had a very, very good season. I think Gabriel and Ben White have had very, very good seasons. But I think as the standard rises next season, with not only the Champions League, but the extra games that brings, I'm not convinced a back four of Zinchenko, Gabriel, Saliba and Ben White gets you far in the Champions League. And I don't think it will get us to where we've got this season in the Premier League, because that'll be the back four that plays in the Champions League. Let's not forget, in the Europa League, you can drop your back four and bring in Holding, Tomiyasu, Tierney to play in the Europa League. In the Champions League, you can't rotate like that. The back four will be the back four. And I have concerns about whether those 4 players, who I think individually are very good players, and individually and as a collective this season have done very, very well. As the bar rises next season, I'm not totally convinced that back four can go deep into a Champions League and a Premier League campaign. I would upgrade on Gabriel. I think I would make Gabriel the holding. So I'd make Gabriel the 3rd centre back, if you like, in our team. I know James isn't
so harsh.
It is harsh. It is harsh. But like I said, my head is in next season, James. And I think when you're playing against the best managers, the best coaches, and better teams across Europe, I think they find out Ben White at right back. I think that they find out Gabriel centre back. I think we need better quality in that back four. I could be wrong, but I've just got concerns.
I think it's harsh, but I want to ask you then, what did you make of Kivior? Because Kivior came in January, young, potential, left-sided centre-back. If you're saying you want an upgrade on Gabriel, do you see one in Kivior?
I've not seen enough in Kivior to kind of think he's the guy I would put in our back four. I thought against Chelsea, he had a solid game. I thought he was okay. I thought it was a nice 6 or 7 out of 10. He didn't do anything massively wrong for me. I think he looks like he's got some qualities that I'm happy to kind of, give him a season next year to kind of show what he can do. He looks okay to me, but I don't think he's the answer. I would sell. We all agree would sell Holding. I just think a back four of Zinchenko, Ben White, Holding, Saliba, and Gabriel. I'm not convinced that wins the Champions League next season. And if we're talking about being serious here, which is winning the Champions League next season, that back four doesn't win it.
It's an interesting point, because I see what you're saying. I agree with James. It's harsh, but we're also saying we want Declan Rice. Who's he coming in place of?
Xhaka.
Xhaka, and he's had a fantastic season. I think the reason that we're probably say Xhaka is because of his age. Maybe we're looking at excuses to leave him out. Oh, he's 30, 31, same as Thomas Partey. We need to.
So it's cut you, Lee. I don't think it's his age. I think I just don't think he's the level. He's had a brilliant season. Next year to win a Champions League. He could be 24. He's not good enough to be in the midfield to win the Champions League.
Exactly, but what we're trying to say is why it's not harsh is because he's of his age or whatever. But we are looking to upgrade in that area, which is and if you look at the back four, what is it conceding goals for? Is it because it's not being protected properly, or is it because there is a weakness in there? That's something that's got to be addressed and looked at, because we can't keep conceding the goals that we're conceding. if we are to go on and be a real top side. I think at the end of the day, as our back four cost us winning the title, I don't think so. I don't think so this season. But is it going to get us to the title? Is it going to get us to the promised land of the Champions League? That's questions that have got to be asked, and sometimes you have to be ruthless. So I'm not against what you're saying here, Jordan, but I do feel that Gabriel probably has earned the right to be given a shot at it, as has Ben White.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not as harsh as Jordan is on the defense, but he makes points about the Champions League and getting to a stage where you want to see a team that you think can win it, and it's mad to think about that because we've just entered back into Champions League. So I've kind of come to terms with not having a team that's ready to win it yet, and settling for a team that can actually make some inroads in the competition and not go out with a whimper like we used to do towards the end of the Champions League.
Let me ask you, Turkish, all three of you, the current back five as it is, does that team beat Real Madrid in the Champions League final? Or over two legs in the semi-final?
No,
Probably
but I think
not.
a lot of that comes down to the experience. I think, in all honesty, I think Gabriel with the Champions League experience, Saliba with a bit more age and experience, Ben White with a bit more experience at that level.
I think quality as well. I think the best attackers in the world, they find a way to get in behind Gabriel. Saliba's got the pace at least to, if he is beaten, to recover. I think that back four. This is my level now. I want to win. Man City is the bar. I think they'll win the treble this season, so they'll be European champions and Premier League champions next season. So if you want to win those two trophies, you've got to be better than them. And I think the first thing that we can control is the personnel. That back four is not besting Man City in the Champions League or the Premier League. Facts. It's just not. We can be emotional and it's harsh, and it's not beating that team. It's not. That team will go deep in the Premier League campaign. That team can get out the group. Maybe the latter parts of the European Cup. They're not winning it, and for me, I want to win it.
Don't you think partly the reason for your opinion on the City defense, which I don't disagree with? I mean, if we take Stones from 2 years ago or Ake from 2 years ago, these are defenders that there was a lot of question marks about.
Yeah, great point.
In the system they use and the way Pep manages. They've probably been two of City's best players this season. So isn't there an argument that?
But even 3 years ago, Stones is better than Gabriel, in my opinion. So without the experience of having 2-3 years in the Champions League, I still think even then Stones was a better player than Gabriel. Again, I want to repeat because the comments are gonna come for me and be wrong as usual. I'm not saying Gabriel is not a very good defender. He is. I'm not saying that I had a very good season. He is. But it ain't good enough. We can't win the Europa League, Turkish. We can't win the Europa League. So if we're going to win the Champions League, that's 2-3 levels above. So I'm just saying, what can we control that actually helps us get closer to winning those two trophies next season? And what we can control is personnel. We can't control what City do, but we can control what we do. And going into the new season, that back four for me ain't winning the Champions League or the Premier League. It's just not.
I will say with Gabriel, in his defence, a couple of things really, he hasn't got a left back by his side 9 times out of 10. He is having to cover a lot of ground, and he does it really well, to be honest. We do get exposed down that left hand side, but I don't think it's down to him a little bit. I look back at the game against Chelsea. As good as what we were in the first half, Chilwell gets through one-on-one, but it's down the right-hand side, and Ramsdale makes a very, very good save. And he has been caught out a few times. I think his positioning play has been questioned a few times, in my opinion. But I think that it's difficult when you've not got the protection of a left back, and sometimes not the protection of players in front of you. We don't really play a protection game either. I always look back and I always say this, as good as Adams and Keown and Sol Campbell were, and players like that, they always had players in front of them like Gilberto and Vieira and Petit. That little bit of protection in front. We've only really got Partey. So when we play in Europe and play in these sort of games, there is protection. I think that we need a little bit more protection in front as well as in other places. We do get what I'd say. I think we expose our central defenders. And again, I think going back to what James says, I think that's probably modern football now. Like, I think that's the way it is. You know, you've got to be able to deal with that. Like, you know, I think it's a good argument. I think it's something where I wouldn't slag anybody off if Gabriel was upgraded, but I do think there are reasons why he's probably not as solid as he should be, and that's probably the way in the system that he plays in. I'm a big Gabriel fan, by the way. You know what I mean?
I'm a massive Gabriel fan. Sorry,
James has been holding it in.
I hear it. I hear there's some points there that I kind of get, but I think you're going to struggle to find. What does he want, Arteta? He wants a left-footed centre-back, 6'3", dominant in the air. Can't question that. Who can cover at left back when, as you said, you know, the left back does whatever he wants. So he's got to cover that space. Who scores goals. Let's not forget, he does come up with some big goals as well from set pieces. Who is incredibly quick. We play a really high line. Him and Saliba have to do all the mopping up. Often they're left just the two of them to do the defending themselves. I've seen this guy win one-on-one battles with Mo Salah, win pretty much one-on-one battles with everyone in the league that he's put up against. You know, I just... And he's, 24? I think his potential's up there. I really do. He's had a better season than Saliba for me. Yeah, we all talk about Saliba because he's the new exciting one. At the start of the season, Saliba was faultless. But if you're looking across the season, I go as far as to say if you look across the whole Premier League season, I struggle to find any centre-backs that have been as good over the full 38 or 34 we've played.
Yeah. No, I think you're probably right. I think you're probably right. But this season for me is independent of next season. The level's going up, and this season was good enough to be in the Europa League.
The Champions League, you're talking about 2 or 3 teams: Bayern, Madrid, Man City. Now, of course, everyone else might improve. Man United might improve, you know, whatever. But the groups aren't going to have all of them. It's going to have one, maybe if we're super unlucky, 2 of those in the groups. Largely, I think the Premier League is more testing for a larger part of the season than the Champions League is.
I think the Champions League is different. I think even without the top teams, there are still seasoned European teams that know how to navigate the Champions League. I think better than us, that aren't your kind of Bayerns and your Real Madrids and your Liverpools. And I think it's the Napolis, and it's the, you know, Marseille might have a good year next year, and it's the you know, it's the Dortmunds that aren't the European giants, but know how to kind of navigate a European campaign. And those the coaches, and those the managers, and those the players and teams that on paper you think Arsenal v Napoli, that should be an Arsenal win, player for player. But do you know what I'm trying to say here? So I think Napoli has a very, very good season.
That's a great example at the moment because they're brilliant. But I get what you're saying. You know, we might have a trip to, I'm just making one up, like Frankfurt next season away from home, and that proves very awkward. I get what you're saying. But when it comes to any potential struggles in the Champions League last year, let's remember that in the 5-6 seasons when we were in it before the 6 years we just had out, you know, we were not making a good account of ourselves. So I get what you're saying, but for me, that's more on Arteta. You know, the fact that we haven't won a Europa League in the last 3-4 years. All right, Emery got us to a final, Wenger got us to a semi-final, but I think Arteta's been largely very disappointing in Europe. I think it's more about how he gets us through that as opposed to
I agree with that.
Certain players.
But here's the key point as well, as I mentioned earlier on. Gabriel is going to have to play not only the Premier League games, but have to play on a Saturday after playing on a Wednesday against a Juventus or against a Bayern. And I think, and what I'm saying is next year, he'll be tested, I think, significantly more. And I have doubts. I'm not writing him off, but I have doubts as to whether he has the quality to be able to play 3 games in a week, which could be Liverpool, Juventus, Man City. Does he have the quality in a way? And again, I'm not putting it all on him, but I'm being deliberately harsh here because the standards have got to go up individually. And for me, I'm looking at and forming an 11 that I'm confident can navigate both competitions week in, week out. And I just think he's had a good season this year because he's had 1 game a week. He's had one game a week in the main.
That's probably true though of every player in our team because we haven't seen them do it. You know,
I think Saka is a better right winger than Gabriel is a defender. I think
Fine.
Odegaard is a better number 10 than Gabriel is a centre back. Do you know what I mean? So I've got more faith in those guys being able to manage that level of that increase in standard than I do in Gabriel and even Ben White.
Sure, I hear it. And then when I've seen Arsenal in the absolute, pits this season, when it's been really difficult and we have had a few back-to-back difficult games and they've had to come through, it's the Gabriels for me that on an individual basis have stepped up,
Agree.
So I do get what you're saying.
I'm separating what he's done this year from what he might do next year. So I agree this year has been brilliant.
That's about adding serious depth. I saw Man City the other day bring on Foden and Bernardo Silva against Fulham, and Alvarez started because De Bruyne was out and Ake was missing, so Akanji was playing. And I was looking at it thinking, I mean, oh my word! So that there needs to be like an addition of 3 world-class players this summer. There just has to be, just to have the depth and the quality to go across the full board. Be competitive every competition. And it feels like this podcast has moved away from talking about the Chelsea game, because the Chelsea game, actually, we were very, very good. And I don't really think we've actually probably given enough credit to that. But I understand, across the whole season, we've given a lot of credit to Arsenal's really good performances. Looking at the bigger picture, what we've taken from this season going to next season, that goal that we conceded against Chelsea and the lack of ruthlessness. And when it comes to playing in all these, bigger games and competitions next season, it has to be addressed with real quality coming in the summer.
And can I just challenge your point about us being very, very good? I don't think we were. I think we killed the game in the first half, but there's not many games across a season that you get to win it in the first half. So for me, I don't think we were very, very good, because I think that one goal we conceded with 20 minutes to go, it leaves you slightly. I don't think Chelsea got 3 goals in them. So I don't think it would have been finished 3-3. But the mere fact you've put yourself in a position whereby with 20 minutes to go, if they do score another goal, it's now in the balance. That is not a team second in the league that is in control of a game. That for me, and the best team.
I think we were in control.
Do you think?
Man City won at Craven Cottage 2-1, and I was watching that whole game like, come on, Fulham, do something. And then when the full-time whistle went, I went, they didn't do anything. Everyone was saying, well on Fulham, they made good account of themselves. No, they did. Like, they worked hard, they put themselves about. They were far better.
But it was always going City's way.
As it was on Wednesday.
City fans might have been watching it, maybe not because they're so assured when it comes to their team, but some City fans, or let's put it this way, if Arsenal put in that performance, we'd have come out of it going, but one moment, we didn't kill them off, and one moment, and actually, I think we had Chelsea in the palm of our hands that whole time. They got a goal back, and the team would chill.
It's a great point James makes, because I play football on Wednesday, come off at the end of the game. It was half time in the West Ham Man City game, and someone said, it's 0-0. And my first thing was that they'll win that 2-0. If that was Arsenal, I'd probably be a little bit panicky. Oh no, they're gonna nick one. They're gonna nick one. Like, you know what I mean? But I think that's a great point we're all making. The point that we're making here is that what I get from what Jordan's saying is that this season's been great, but if we've done this again next season, not acceptable. Our ambitions as fans now have got to change. I think we've, it's been a great season, it's been this and all that, but we've got to up our game as well now as fans. The expectation level now next season becomes, right, what are we going to do to get better and better? It is disappointing this season that we've not won the league, but I'm not going to accept it next season because we shouldn't be in this position, So there's all sorts of things that, like that we're doing now. And rightly so, we should be up in, Gabriel's got to up his game next season. Odegaard, everybody's purring about Odegaard. Yes, he's got to do that, but then he's got to go and do it away from home next season on a few occasions and not be given a little bit of a free license. The same with Saka. Everybody keeps going about Saka, which is a great, he's doing it, he's still young and all that. We don't say that about Haaland, do we? We don't say that about certain other players in other teams and all that. Like, Martinelli, he comes from Brazil. It took him time to know. Vieira, like we look at Vieira and we go, give him a couple of years and all that. Like, no. When you start going up, standards change. And also from our point of view as well, like, people turn around and go, it's been a failure this season. You know what I mean? And is it? Yeah, probably it is. But we can put smoke over that, cover it up a little bit, like, because of where we've been. We can't next season, you know what I mean? Like if we having the season that we're having, we blow up. We can't say, oh, well, we was 5th last season and now look where we are now, or we was 8th the season before. There's no safety net no more for the team, for the manager, and for us. And you know what? The reality is that's what happens when you get success. You know, success breeds all different other things of your game, and you know the pressure's on now. Success breeds pressure. Pressure will be on Mikel now to perform. And us fans, I think, and I get what Jordan's saying and all that, but we've got to up our game as well next season. We can't be going, oh well, look where we were 3 or 4 years ago. Look where we were now. No, we're here now, and we got to perform.
Yeah, the bar has been raised, and
bar's been raised. Exactly that.
Success can breed the standards and keeping the standards up there. I think on that subject, just to tie up the loose ends, I think Kivio's probably one to watch out for because he's a different profile left centre back to Gabriel. So when Stones was mentioned earlier, I'm looking at Kivio to be more our Stones than I am looking Gabriel, and there'll probably be games where his type of ability might be suited more so than Gabriel's, and maybe the backup right centre back we get for Saliba, or the right back we get that allows a Tomiyasu to be back up to Saliba, or Ben White to be back up to Saliba, kind of helps that situation. Because listen, as good as we've been this season, there are improvements to be made. Without a shadow of a doubt, we can't think this is it. That's why when I did that keep, sell, or bench video on DR Sports in January, and I mentioned one player, like for example, Xhaka, that moving forward, I'd look to see him on the bench because I'd like an upgrade in that position. That's not to say he hasn't been great this season. He hasn't been one of our most important players. Even the game against Chelsea, the 2 assists he got.
He was outstanding.
Yeah, he was one of the best players there. Man of the match, if not, a candidate for it at the very least. But we've got to look to upgrade in certain positions, and that means looking to upgrade on some of the players that we have been happy with this season. But that's what raising the bar does. That's what competing in Champions League does. That's what trying to reach Man City standards does.
It does. But can I just add, and I really want to get this in because I know we need to move on, but I do just want to say as well, and I know it must sound like here I am trying to drag that bar down, but these things do take time. Now, I know as a fan base, we've been incredibly patient. Now, and I know that even just in the Arteta era, now we're going into his fourth full season. Yeah. So we're absolutely right to expect a level of competition. But I will always, my demands will always be we challenge and legitimately challenge. I'll never have this sense of we have to win the league. We have to win the league because there's so much money and there's so much quality that I can never just say the team have to. They have to. This season has been and will be by any season kind of the bare minimum in terms of you take them all the way to May and you put the pressure on.
Yeah, agree.
What Man City have, when I say it takes time, look at the Man City players we purr about. Edison arrived 4 or 5 years ago. John Stones arrived about 5, 6 years ago. De Bruyne 5, 6, 7 years ago maybe. Gundogan as well. Mahrez has been there 3, 4 years. We don't have any players that have been a part of this Arsenal 11 for more than 2 or 3, bar Granit Xhaka. So it is still, a part of that is experience and a part of that is growing as a team. And we can add all the quality we want, but the time.
It takes time.
James, it's a great point. It's a great point. I hear people turning around and saying it's a failure not to win the league this season. It's a failure not to win it. You know what I mean? Listen, you're up against Man City like every single season. They're going to win it 5 times out of 6 now. Yeah, it is about challenging. It's about putting in a challenge. And when people turn around and say, "Oh, we've bottled it" and everything like that, we've put in a challenge which no other team has done this season. That's what. There's no divine right to win the league. You know what I mean? I've never had that arrogance to say that. It is about, for me, challenging. If you can challenge and win it, fantastic. You know what I mean? But I'll tell you, when people go about Man United, Tottenham, Liverpool, I'd rather have this season that I've had than what they're having this season because we've challenged for it. We're going up. What are we now? May the 7th, and we're going up to Newcastle, still in with a chance of winning the title. Not realistic, but still a chance. What no other team has. So, that's what I think you've got to aim for, a challenge. And
And,
it might be
and
next season that we're not in front as much as what we are, but we could still
everything
challenge.
I've just said, look, Jurgen Klopp got something out of Liverpool quite quickly, so maybe that disproves my point a little bit. But I just think when I say challenge, I don't just mean I'm happy just sort of being out of everything and finishing second. I don't mean that.
No.
I mean where the bar is raised for me next year, where my expectations are more ruthless, is I don't want you falling out the FA Cup in the 3rd or 4th round again. No. Get to the semi-final. Get us to Wembley. We should have a squad to go far in the Carabao. We should get to the Champions League quarters as a minimum. That is now, rather than looking at the league, we finished second, so now you have to win it. Keep pushing in the league, keep getting better, keep pushing City all the way. I don't think Liverpool as a points tally got better on the year before, the year they actually won it, or maybe they did by a point. But arguably the year before they were better. They won the Champions League and everything. It's not necessarily about that, but just be competitive across the board.
Exactly. Liverpool have challenged Man City for the last 4 years, right? They've challenged them for the last 4 years, gone toe to toe with them and been unlucky and all that. But in that, they've won the Champions League. They've won the FA Cup. They've won the League Cup. They have continued to do well in cups as well. They've not thrown themselves out of cup competitions. We have. I'm not having that next season. I'm with you on that, James. You know what I mean? And you know what? We're going up to Man City, if we play Man City and playing a weakened squad, going out of it and going, that's it. We played really well, and then not winning nothing on the end of it. I'm with you on that. I'm fed up. I'll be honest with Arsenal under Mikel throwing away, even the Europa League. We went out to the Europa League and everybody, myself included, I'm guilty of it as well, saying, we've got the league to go for. I understand the reasons for it, not. And some people were quite happy to be going out of cup competitions this season, That is a mentality that's got to change from the fans' point of view as well. I'm not happy with going out of cup competition. We've got to be going deep in every single competition.
Sorry, I know you're mad over Turkish. Just want to briefly agree with James. I think for what it's worth, I don't see anybody winning the Premier League next year, bar Man City. That's not me being defeatist. I just can't see how a team can come above them. I don't see it. We can discuss it over the course of the summer. But I'm with James. I think what I'm saying is that next year, just be in the mix at the latter parts when it matters. So this time next year, I want to be with a month to go, still in with a chance of winning the Premier League. I want to be, as James says, minimum quarterfinals, Champions League next season. And hopefully we've got a Carabao Cup in our bag, even a final appearance, whatever it may be. I don't think we have any entitlement or right to win a trophy. I'm not saying that Arsenal, if they don't win a cup next year, is a failure. No, I'm just saying put yourself in a position whereby you go as deep as possible in every competition. And for me, to do that, when the standard goes up next season, I think we have to significantly improve on our personnel.
I think it would be a failure if we don't win a trophy next season. And to be honest with you, it depends how you look at it this season to deem it a failure or not. Because if you take into account our expectations at the start of the season, then it's hard to call it a failure that we've pushed Man City all the way to the last 5 games. But if you look at it from the international break in March, right? If you look at it from our winner after Tottenham or United in January. If you look at it when we was in the lead for the majority of the season, then it's, in my opinion, it can be deemed a failure, but that's not necessarily a negative. Now, a lot of the time recently, I've been saying, I feel like it's over. I felt like it was over after the Southampton game. And a lot of Arsenal fans that tend to be on the more positive side, optimistic side, will turn to me and say, imagine the players thought like that. Well, let me flip it around to the more positive, optimistic fans. Imagine the players deemed this season not a failure. That would be more detrimental, in my honest opinion, than them looking at themselves as having failed this season. Because you have to use that pain, you have to use this experience as a learning curve, as motivation. They need to feel that it is failure. As much as we as fans will protect them and say it's a young side, they've only been together 2-3 years. This is all facts. It's not opinions. They are facts.
It's a good point.
They can't be thinking like that, because that's
you flipped that nice.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
Fair play. It's
a good point.
It is a great point, but also you have to ask yourself.
Fair play.
One thing I will say, and I mean, it's a good point and things like that. But since Nottingham Forest, how many games have Man City lost? How many games since Forest have they dropped points?
No.
They've won
They're
every
not.
game, I think.
They've won
None,
every
yeah.
game. They've won every game. Now, in a normal world, in normal football, somewhere along the line, a team just drops points, you know what I mean, like unexpectedly. They haven't. You know, and I don't think we realise what we're up against here. Like, well, I do. I've realised it over the last few weeks. You know, you just know they're not going to concede. They're not going to lose another game, boys. They're not going to lose another game.
I think, Lee, a deeper question is, since that Nottingham Forest game, has there been a game where they've conceded more than 2 goals? I can't think of a game where they've conceded more than 2 in a game.
I can't. No.
There's a lot of clean sheets in there, and I think teams are getting 1. We got 1 against them, but I don't know many teams have got 2 against them.
I don't think
you think about going back to when we've won leagues and things like that, I remember we was going for the title, and Man United lost to Derby at home, and you think that's it. We've got to win the next game, and we win it. Certain times in the Champions League, like Liverpool and Man United, drop points, and you know, sometimes, you know, you get over the line that way, but they've just been relentless. They've just been relentless. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you know, we're looking at it now. Brighton probably may get something off of them, but you wouldn't bet against it. You know, it wouldn't be surprising. I'm not making excuses when I say this neither. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if they go and win every single game now to the end of the season. If they did that, you know, that's what you're up against. Liverpool found that out. Liverpool lost 1 game last season. Didn't win the league. It's incredible.
Yeah, but Liverpool also used it as motivation to get better and eventually win the league, and also got a Champions League in the process. That's what this young team have to do as well. Can't rest on their laurels and give themselves pats on the back, because nothing has been achieved yet. No one's going to look back at a 5-6 year period and say, "Oh, Arsenal challenged the most." They'll look back at it, even if it is 1 in a 5-6 year period, you know, like Klopp has done with Liverpool, as some form of success in what might be deemed a golden era for the club. So as much as I know, coming up against Man City, a juggernaut, is very difficult, and there's only 1 Premier League winner per season, and they will always tend to be favourites, especially with Pep Guardiola in charge and the players they have. We've just got to build and do what Liverpool done a few years ago, and you know, just kick on and build on the points tally we will amass come the end of the season. The performances we've put in, being a bit more ruthless and getting more goals in certain games. The trajectory's there, but yeah, we can't rest now. We can't think, you know, job done, we're back to challenging, because no job has been done yet. Challenging was the next step in the 5-point plan, or whatever this whole process is entailing. So I think next season we have to win something. Ideally, that would be the Premier League, but like you lot said, I want to go far in Champions League. I want to go and win the FA Cup again. I want to actually win something, challenge, all combined, all in one.
We've got a better chance, in my opinion, of winning the Champions League than the Premier League. I think it'll be easier for us to win the Champions League next year than the Premier League. I don't see anybody stopping City next year. You know, injuries permitting, I just don't see what they do. I said before, they're making you be perfect. And then even then, as Lee's just said, Liverpool lost 1 game.
Yeah.
They lost 1 game.
It might not be enough.
Just sign Rice, Caicedo, Vlahovic, and Gehi, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, it's a big summer, and we will talk about the summer,
man.
in shows to come, because you know there's been rumors that Kroenke is willing to spend a bit more now we're back in Champions League, and I think heading into the transfer window, which opens quite early, June the 10th, I believe, the same day as the Champions League final. I think that's something that we need to talk about, areas to improve on, and how much we should be spending this summer now that we're back in the big time, the Champions League, and we have a challenge inside again. All right, Newcastle Sunday, St. James Park. City play before us against Leeds at the Etihad, so it's expected that they will be 4 points in front of us come that game at St. James Park. Newcastle.
Don't write off Sam Allardyce, mate. He is
Big Sam.
He's as good as all of them.
He's as good as all of them.
One of the greatest of all time, isn't he, James?
He's an OG, man. He's Big Sam, man. It's good to see him back in the league. For a few
It's
games.
actually great to see him back. I love that press conference. Did you see the way he delivered that Arteta line?
Yeah.
You know, he looked at it and went, not Pep.
Yeah.
Not Arteta. Like, it was just brilliant. It was just so, the way he just looked at it. Like, he was just disgusted with, what's this inverted?
The thought of the comparison.
Yeah, what's this inverted wingback bullshit? You know,
they're going to get slapped 4-0. They're going to get absolutely
slapped
4-0.
No chance.
All that big talk.
Well,
No chance.
We're not predicting that game. We're predicting the Newcastle game. And what's going to happen there? Is anyone getting slapped? Does anyone feel confident about it? Because I know I don't feel confident about it. That's for sure.
I said 1-1 on the preview. Sorry, I've given it away early, but yeah.
I think this game could show growth. I mean, this was a game where we absolutely capitulated last season. This is the game where I thought it was an unacceptable performance. We were out of our depth. Yeah, there were some injuries, but in every aspect, we were just overwhelmed and absolutely battered. I just think it was a game where the frailties of Arsenal Football Club and the team, I think, came to the fore. We have a chance to go back there, similar point of the season, and actually show that we have grown and we've got better. To some degree, we've shown that already. But going to Newcastle in this form as well, it's not going to be easy. It won't be easy, man. So it's hard predicting this one because I can see all three results happening. It wouldn't surprise me if we won this game. It wouldn't surprise me if we lost this game. It wouldn't surprise me if it was a draw. So this is one of those really hard ones to predict because I can foresee any three of the possible results come into the fore.
The thing is with this game is I think, and realistically, I think a point would be a good result up there. In normal circumstances, I think if you get up to Newcastle, third in the league, flying, and you got a point like they did against us back at the Emirates, they'd be pleased as punch that they've got a draw there. Unfortunately, a draw is not good enough.
Yeah,
for them or for us?
For us.
Yeah.
A draw cements second place, which isn't obviously what we were going for, but you know, at least that isn't something to sweat over. I'm
not even thinking about City, James. I'm not thinking about City. I'm thinking about just finish the season 4 from 4, or was it 3 from 3 now? Just win all your games. Make City earn the title.
What would you be thinking though if Lee's done a madness?
No, but Lee, you know what? Even forget all of that, right? That's with all due respect, slightly wishful thinking or whatever. If Arsenal do their job, which is win their games, at the very least, we take Man City to that final week. I've
Last
said
game
it
of the season.
1,000 times. We take them to that final
You've got to
week.
win at Newcastle then, James.
Brighton away, Brentford away. Now, no, absolutely. So, but that's the one I look at. But Arsenal have shown this season they're capable of that big away performance. So if we go and we get that win, and we do take City all the way to that final week, all they have to do is draw at Brighton, which very possible. They're a very good team. And suddenly it's, right, okay, we should beat Brentford. We probably will beat Brentford. But what if we don't beat Brentford? Yeah, like, you know, at least you're asking them that question. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I agree with you.
The dreams have begun.
You're going 1-1.
We'll see it.
Ivan Toney to win us the title.
Why not? But Newcastle's going to be a difficult game. They're in some good form at the moment. I actually do agree with what seemed like the majority. Eddie Howe probably does deserve manager of the season. I think if Arsenal won the league, Arteta would have deserved it. But having just missed out, or what seems like we've just missed out, I think Eddie Howe, the job he's done at Newcastle and the way he's gone about, even this season, you look at them, first half of the season, solid defensive unit. Second half of the season, they've opened up a bit more. They're a bit more confident in the transition in the final third. They're scoring goals now. They're going to be a threat for years to come. You know, they're going to be a threat. I can really see them challenging for league titles year in, year out, round the corner. No one expected them to be where they are this season. So I think as much as our process is deemed ahead of schedule, Newcastle's definitely is ahead of schedule. So
I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
Not sure. I think it's nice when there's no expectations on you. I think next year when there's expectation on them and they have to bring in a high level of quality of player, Eddie Howe we're going to see then, how we can integrate 2 or 3 established, potentially world-class players. I'm not saying that he can't, but I'm not totally convinced that next year they'll come top 4 again.
I don't know.
It's not a given to me.
You're right. I mean, you can only get that through experience. But I mean, in the World Cup, you saw the pressure on us being top of the league and whatnot. Newcastle had pressure of their own because they was in the top 4 come the World Cup. I believe they had something to hold on to.
But if they didn't get top 4, it wasn't like oh my God, you blew it, in the same way that it would be for City or for Arsenal or for United.
Yeah, true.
Do you know what I mean? So I think they will do well over the. But I'm not. For me, Newcastle, as it stands right now, are not bankers for top 4 next season. They're not back. They're not guaranteed next year for me.
Nor Arsenal, coincidentally.
Nor is
maybe fair.
Apart from City, I will say this with Newcastle, and I think that Eddie Howe's done an unbelievable job. But I agree with Jordan. What comes on there will be pressure, and what will happen then is what the Newcastle ball do when there is a bit of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Do they go down the Chelsea route and start sack or do they back him? So it'll be very interesting season for them next season. What goes on? But listen, they've been fantastic this season. I think that there's been pressure on them because they did drop out the top 4 at one stage, and you thought like that they weren't going to get it, and then they've come again and.
Credit to Howe. That's credit to Howe, Lee. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
Not just get top 4. If they get 3rd,
it's credit to them. I think that I think that there was even talk that they weren't going to get top 4 at one stage. I always sort of felt that they would.
I didn't.
And now I think that result yesterday, the Brighton Man United game, is virtually guaranteed that they're going to get 3rd. I think, So as it happens, I think that's done us a little favour. No, not the other way. I don't know, because there would have been there's still a little bit of pressure on them to get top 4, so that the pressure's not quite off yet, so they can relax and play. So I think maybe a good thing. There's still a lot riding on it for them. If they was guaranteed a top 4 going into this game, I think that we'd find it very, very difficult, because they'll be a relaxed, very, very good, relaxed Newcastle side. They're still got to watch over their eye for Brighton and Liverpool. So just a little bit.
Bearing in mind,
let's get on with it now. Come on.
Yeah, bearing in mind the time, I've just clocked 1 hour 21 in, and this was meant to be an hour one. We even got the heads up to make it an hour before the show started, but here we are talking away. I just thought the conversation's flowing, so we might as well let it flow. Let me bring up the prediction table. With Lee's point docked off, that's what it's looking like.
Lovely.
Is it lovely?
Turkish. Yeah. He knows that I'm a rival. Even down there, he knows that I'm dangerous. I'm not a scorpion. I'm dangerous.
Listen,
it's getting juicy.
I might be 35. I might be getting old, but there's nobody ahead of me in football terms. Not James, not Jordan, not Lee. They do what they do. I do what I do. But
Turkish is talking that Big Sam talk. Turkish is the Big Sam.
I'm up there with them.
Yeah. And no one fucking wants you either.
My guy. Jeez.
For the audio listeners, here's how it's looking. 45 games have been played, 45 predictions have been made. I am top on 40 points after another correct score. Jordan's in second on 36 points. That's a 4-point difference going into the last 4 games. Lee's on 33 points in third. Only ahead of James, who's on 33 points by correct scores at the moment, after he's had a point docked off for being late.
Very interesting.
There it is. All right, prediction time.
Let's go.
Should I throw a curveball in there? Now I'm gonna go with what I've been going with all week. 2-2. I think it'll be a 2-2 draw. Yeah, 2-2 draw. Let me stick with it. And Jordan, you let me get away with it last
Don't
week.
worry, I'm going straight in. Don't worry about that.
Go straight in.
I think Arsenal lose this one 3-1.
3-1.
I think Arsenal lose 3-1. Yeah. I think the midfield's not quite right. Yeah, I think they'll lose this one. Sorry.
Lee, what are you gonna do, mate? You thrown it in now, or you still think there's a chance?
Newcastle 2, Arsenal 3.
Get in there, Lee. Come on. Come on.
So far, James, 3 different predictions have been made. I've gone 2-2. Jordan's gone 3-1 Newcastle. Lee's gone 3-2 Arsenal. So what are you going to go with?
If I really
Fight for his
wanted
lifestyle, Liz.
to, I could just go with Lee's results between now and the end of the season and ensure that we finish on the same amount of points. I know that will eat away at him. But I'm more ambitious than that. I'm going to go 1-1.
Great. Super ambitious.
And then very ambitious, I know. Yeah.
So there's only one person back in the team then, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Last time.
I'll give it all. Like, I'll give it. What was that? An hour giving it low. Oh, we're playing well. Yeah, Gabriel should be playing. Oh, I'll give him all like that. 1-1. No faith. No faith. But I'm telling you this, we're going up there and we're winning. I
hope so, mate.
I'll be up there. If we get the 3-2, what did that put me on? 36. I'll be back in it, boys. Back in it. And I will be then going to Sharoy and seeing Sharoy and getting my point back.
He's still going to appeal the decision.
If we win 3-2, the appeal is going in instantly.
You're lucky it's not 2 points. You're lucky it's not 2 points off. So just you got away with it already.
To be fair, yeah.
You are quite lucky, but there you go. There's the predictions. I've gone 2-2.
Listen, all you got to do is stick an appeal in and you get it back. You know what I mean? Guaranteed, like that. I mean, like, you know, dear Sharoy, and you go, yeah, point back. That's all you have to say, like. You know what I mean?
You gotta be like me. Take the docked points and still take the lead, Lee.
Yeah. This is it. Like, you know, I remember look, Arsenal won the league having docked points. I'm coming back.
Lee's coming back. All right, people, that's the prediction. I've gone 2-2. Jordan's gone 3-1 Newcastle. Lee's gone 3-2 Arsenal, and James has gone 1-1. Prediction table out of the way. Coming close to an hour and a half. We've got 3 minutes to go. Let's bring up the comments of the day because I can see Jordan's got his book out. So
books here, books ready to go.
Sure he's ready.
All right, let me go first then. I've got one here from Alex Kerr. It's a nice one. He says, Gents, I'm not gonna lie. I was apprehensive about watching this episode as I really didn't want to hear you bashing the team. As like Lee said, they have done so well. I have to say the episode was the best one you've done. The support and in-depth analysis in this was amazing. A credit to you all, and again, come on, right in there, and I'm proud to support Arsenal with you all. And there was a lot of comments that were kind of really enjoying our analysis of the Man City game.
Thank you.
And I've got another one here that just says, Emile Smith-Rowe out the door is a wild take from Tanner Weinstein. So some people didn't agree with, I think my view. I think Turkish agreed with me as well that, you know, he would move Emile Smith-Rowe on. A few people commented on wanting to keep Emile Smith-Rowe.
Yeah, I understand. Ideally, you don't want to lose a player from Hale End, but at the same time, you don't tend to build European Champions League winning sides, Premier League dominating sides with just a team made up of academy products. It's very rare, so I get it. I'll get mine in because mine's short but sweet. Mine is from actually, Lee, you get yours in because I can't see.
On Tuesday, waiting for the fan cams, and a lovely girl come up and asked for a photo and said, "Oh, she really loves the Fourever Arsenal." She says, "You're very good, Lee, but will you stop bullying James?" You know what I mean?
James, have you got a sister?
I was taken
that was
aback.
My mum. Thank you, Mum.
I was taken aback by that. Like, you know what I mean? I said, "I don't bully James." She said, "Oh, yes, you do."
You do.
Know what I mean? So. I was told off, like, you know what I mean? But there you go. Like, so I've gone for Spamfish one, like, you know, when Jordan said, "I can't swim, let's hire a boat." Lee is savage. I like that.
Let's hire a boat. I've got mine now. Arsenal app said Turkish looks like he's in a hostage video.
I did see that one. Yeah.
And I'll explain that a little bit. So my little one just decided to knock down my my tripod with my light stand on it and snap the whole thing. So right now I've just got this light box right in front of me, just pointed upwards, and yeah, I do look like I'm a bit of a hostage at the moment. But rest assured, I'm all right. I'm all right, sitting comfortably at the top of the prediction table.
Jeez.
Oh, he's brought that prediction. He's brought it up again, like that.
Yes. He's going for it. He's going
really.
This one's from Mac. He says, "Love it when he who shall not be named slips and says Xhaka's name." That's a curveball. He says, "Reminds me of when the missus said no more kids. We've got a 7-month-old now. Congratulations to you, young family man."
Congratulations. That's actually a good one. Reminds me of saying no more kids. That's all the comments of the day. That's all the predictions. We've just touched an hour and a half. Make sure you hit the like button, people, because this is back-to-back 90-minute shows. It's a movie. It's a movie. So hopefully you enjoyed. Hit the like button. Hopefully we're enjoying a positive result on Sunday against Newcastle. And hopefully we're back smiling next week with Man City dropping some points. Who knows? We'll see.
Come on, Big Sam.
Come on, Big Sam. Show us they're not on your level. Love to Jordan, love to Lee, love to James. As always, this has been the Forever Arsenal podcast. Hit the like button, leave your comments. We'll be back again next week. Make sure you subscribe, put the notification bell on. A lot of quality content coming out thick and fast, people. We're out. Peace.